Mason,
Yeah, what's up?
you want to hear a story?
Yeah, go for it.
So it's a little short story today, nothing too crazy. But this is back when I was at the window and door company. The window and door company handles everything from the initial drawings for these houses all the way to delivery and service. So with my job in the service department, we had a lot of crossover with delivery. So we're in charge of basically receiving all the inventory and then getting it out to the specific jobs. And since we had to do, the company was doing everything up front, it's because there's stuff that you could get down to like less than an inch worth of specificity on how custom all these things are.
Yeah.
But also with it being custom, a lot of these customers are ordering ridiculously large units like we've been talking about. So some of those are pivot doors. So have you ever seen some of those huge pivot doors that have like 2 points that open up? They're not on a hinge.
No.
Okay, so imagine you've got a huge door and let's say it's a 4 foot, the one we're talking about today is like a 5 foot by 12 foot door, okay? A foot in on one side.
Oh, yeah, I remember these.
There's a point that sits under the bottom, and there's a point that sits on the top, and it swings on that point. So
is that like just a cool factor that people are into?
Yeah. It looks badass. It's a super cool function. But a lot of times you're going to have a humongous piece of glass in there that's going to be like 1/4 of an inch. You've got your spacer bar, then 1/4 of an inch. So when there's a lot of glass, the door gets really heavy. So with the amount of inventory that we were bringing in, and depending on kind of the staffing levels, since the company was growing so much, temp workers would get brought in a lot of times to help us load and deliver a lot of these units, because a lot of the times it's like, hey, it's not that complicated. We just need someone to help us pick these things up, put it on a trailer. We're going to drive to a job site. We're going to unload it in a safe area so that the installers can come, grab all their material, and go throughout the house and install all of it. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But the problem is with some of these temp workers, there is a smarts that comes to lifting things, and some of these temp workers didn't have it, or they didn't have the drive to be picking up a stupid heavy object and just do ignorant work. So there's one day where my friend Forrest and I were loading up this trailer. We have this 5 foot by 12 foot door, so it's almost as tall as I am. It's or the width is almost as tall as I am, because we're laying it down to be able to move it, and Forrest is on the other side of it. So we have glass cups, which are those huge suction cups that attach to the glass, and we do what we call a funeral carry. So you've got one cup, basically 2 guys are standing side by side on opposite sides of the door at each end. So it's like you're picking up a casket, essentially. Yeah. So we pick this door up, heavy as sin, trying to get it on this trailer. We're starting to move it, and there are things just going wrong. Forrest and I get pissed off because we realize it's like it just seems heavier than usual. And at first we're like, what is happening? And then we realize it's the temps. So literally we tell them to not do anything and just stand in the bay of the garage while me and him grab both cups on either side. One person's going backwards, one's going forwards. Pick it up, like I said, heavy as shit. And having to just try and drag this thing up there without dragging it on the ground, but get it on there. And so now,
because once you pick it up, you can't put it down anywhere.
You can. Usually there's little foam, for the manufacturer we're using, they've got like some foam pads. So like they weren't just giving us a raw aluminum to scrape up and just be like, we need a new one. But like, to me, it was the stupid thing. Throughout the rest of that day, it was literally like we had these 2 temps that had been sent out from the service to help us. But for some of these large units, it was literally just like, stand there and get the fuck out of my way, because you guys are making this harder with 4 people rather than 2 people just grunting their way through this thing.
That's how I feel when I move stuff sometimes. It's just, get out of my way. Let me just get it.
Whenever, like, you move and you're helping someone move, is when you really start to feel that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it's like, there's always the person who's trying to overthink things, where it's like, well, if we try and do this or whatever, it's like, no. There's a very simple process for moving, like for someone's house. Like, don't fuck this up. Let's keep this really straightforward.
Yeah, but when I help people, because I hate when somebody's trying to help me and they're telling me what to do and how to do it. It's like, look, I asked you here to help. Now just do whatever the fuck I say. So when I help somebody, whether I have an opinion or not, I just withhold it unless they ask and just be a grunt worker.
Yeah, but I don't know. I start to get pissed off in certain situations when I'm like, we're literally doing this the dumbest way possible.
Oh, yeah. Well, when they're useless, yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, it's like moving. The church I went to growing up, like everyone was a really tight-knit community. So if someone was moving, being one of the elders' kids, like 9 times out of 10, you're showing up because we're helping these people move.
You have to.
Yeah. So you start to figure out like how you're supposed to move, and there's a way to do this and the efficiencies and stuff like that. And you realize that when people are like, I've got a couple of pet peeves with it. The first one is when you show up at 7 a.m., they're like, all right, guys, let's grab some donuts or breakfast real quick. It's like, no. I showed up to help you move. I understand you're trying to be nice. You do that after we're done. Because I want to get this done as quickly as possible and go home.
Get the fuck out.
I do not want to be dealing with you. Like, you're a nice person, but I don't want to be dealing with your house. And then the second thing is, in as much as that person wants to help, they should not. If everything's boxed up, you need to be standing in the doorway. This goes to this room. This goes to this room. You've just got a daisy train of people instead of everyone standing there, where does this go? And then someone having to run around eventually and be like, oh, I think that goes in this room.
Just put it in the garage. Let the other people figure out where it goes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck those people.
Yeah. But isn't it funny how it seems that sometimes, like, I don't know, we've talked about this before, but, and I saw something about it on Instagram where it's like 10% of the people end up doing like 50% of the work.
Oh, yeah, always.
Yeah. And it's just interesting when you see it where it's like you start throwing bodies at it. And yet things do pick up. But at the same time, it's like if you have the right bodies, you can just destroy.
Get it done quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we haven't seen each other for a couple weeks because I was sick last week. So.
Did you have COVID?
No, I actually tested for COVID.
Oh, you did?
I had a fever for like 5 days.
Oh, dude, that's the freaking flu thing that's going around.
Yeah?
Although one of the guys on the team, he's had a fever for like, he can't shake a 101, 102 fever.
That's literally, yeah.
For like 4 or 5 days, but he tested positive.
For coronavirus?
For the vid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do not wish that upon myself and the family. It sounds awful.
The nice part was it was like no congestion. It was just like fever and I would get tired. So that's why I thought it was COVID because that's very similar to the first time I got COVID.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. No one else in my family got sick. Fiance didn't get sick. So I don't
That's nice. Yeah, a friend of mine, he got the same exact thing. Was decommissioned for 2 or 3 days, but like his whole family never got it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Don't pass it on to us.
What have you guys been up to?
Still slowly moving into the house, meeting some of the neighbors, cool neighbors. Although they did recommend to join the community Facebook page.
Yep.
Because it's fucking hilarious on how many Karens are on there complaining about everything. It's borderline annoying. It's for sure annoying, but it's also comical about some of the stuff that they complain about.
Like what? Can we pull it up?
I haven't yet been on it. We were just talking about it, yeah. But like, they plastered these ugly ass signs. We have like a big old park area, and they're still building the like pool house, and the pool's gonna be over there.
Yeah. But
they plastered these signs and bitching on the website about if you don't live in this community, you're not allowed to play at this park. Blah 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 blah. Like just little shit like that. Like who cares?
Yeah.
But so that's cool, getting to know some of the neighbors. But nothing special this week or last week. How long has it been since we've seen each other? A couple weeks?
I think it's been 2.
It's been a fucking blur. Oh, we had some family come in town from New Mexico and Illinois.
Oh, nice.
So kids got to see their cousins, which was cool. Yeah. We had a little golf tournament on Sunday.
Yeah, how'd you do?
We all played terrible, but I got third place, but I didn't win a trophy.
Oh.
It sucks.
Where'd you play?
Coldwater?
Where's that
Cold Creek, Coldwater. It's in Avondale.
Oh, okay.
So, it was very nice.
Nice course.
Oh, yeah. I wish I was better at golf.
Yeah.
It'd be more fun. Because it gets frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you would do well at golf. Not saying the
Why not?
athleticism, the frustration.
I love repeatable, things.
Oh, I fucking hate repeatable things.
So, there's sometimes where there's a period for a while,
Like, do you enjoy, when you have to see a stack of, 500, I don't want to say, stamps to be put on. You just
I can get in a zone of just mindless.
fuck that. I hate that stuff
But,
so much.
there's a period where I would go to the park, with a basketball and just work on just shooting baskets. And this is within the last year.
Why aren't you better at shooting then?
Because this is a newer thing that I
I'm
was
just
like,
kidding.
I
I've
just
never seen
wanna-
you shoot a basketball before.
Yeah. But that's why I love going to the desert and going shooting, because it's something where it's it's the same thing. You're trying to create the same thing over and over, repeatable, smooth, fine details like that. So
Yeah, I don't know if the audience caught it a couple episodes ago when I bought a new gun. I'm officially American.
yeah,
We just had it laying on the table. I wonder if
Yeah.
anybody noticed that. But
put it in the comments if you did. We'll send you something.
not a gun.
Not a gun.
No. But I want to buy more guns. I want to be a long range shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to be able to snipe zombies. Not have to get close to them.
Yeah. When I started getting into guns, my brother had been purchasing some as well, and he started getting into ARs and AKs and some more of the rifle platforms.
Yeah.
Whereas I was more getting into more of the handguns. So it was interesting just as far as he was into all right, let's shoot something from farther away, and I'm more all right, let's grab some steel, let's work on drawing and shooting and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, my buddy, he bought some stock 22 rifle,
Mhm.
but put $3,000 into it. Long dude shoot. I don't know how
A
far.
22?
Yes, but it is, but a rifle though. And
Yeah.
he turned it into a long range rifle that can shoot I'm making this up, but it's thousands, thousands, but it's 1,000 yards, 2,000. I don't know what the proper, but it's literally
2,000 would be elite level shooting.
Yeah, it's it's a gun that if you were paid to kill people,
Mm-hmm.
you would use it.
A
We went
22
shooting.
though?
Yeah, it goes that far. The shit that he has, you wouldn't be able to tell it was a 22 until you opened up the chamber, until you looked to see what bullets were in
Mhm.
there. But this thing fires it's easier to pull the trigger and not feel anything versus a Nerf gun.
Yeah.
You feel it way more than this thing.
Yeah.
It's just psh, and you're what? Because I think at the range we went to, it only went to, what did they go, 30, 50 yards?
It depends on the range. Did you go to Shooter's World?
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah. Because I was shooting it. I was the first time I shot, I was did I shoot it? You're yeah, dude, I think you hit it. And then I had to use the scope and look, and I fucking, not dead center, but I hit it
Yeah.
respectably.
Yeah.
I was I thought I didn't shoot the gun properly. He's this is why this is badass.
Yeah.
I just said the same thing. A 22. I was what? And the little baby bullet. I'm new to the gun, so I'm oh, these are little baby bullets.
Yeah. Do you know what a carbine is?
No.
So, it's basically a rifle platform that shoots, handgun ammo. So, I've got so your normal AR-15, it shoots a 223 or 5.56. That's the common bullet. So it's a larger cartridge. So you've got all the gunpowder, the primer, all that in there, and then it does have a little bit of a larger bullet that it shoots, obviously. But you can get some of the same thing where it's basically like an AR-15 platform, but it shoots a 9mm. And since the recoil is so much different, it's the same thing. Where if you get a cheap AR, it'll punch you in the shoulder.
Yeah.
With the 9mm, you're just boof, boof, boof. And that one's a lot of fun, especially like if you're teaching someone new to shoot, because sometimes they're intimidated by something having a good amount of recoil in their hands. But you can give them that kind of a gun, and with the very limited recoil, they start to get really interested in it, as well as you can be a lot more accurate quickly. If you throw a red dot on there or something like that. So especially you throw some steel out there, you've got a newer person shooting, teach them like, hey, here's the rules of the guns for safety, make sure everything's good. But then once they start plinking, you just see it. Like they want to start okay.
My buddy had an old school, I don't know what they're called, like 45, Colt 45, the old school one.
The revolvers.
Yeah, exactly. And the recoil thing was no joke. It was like snapped it back like crazy.
Yeah, because...
And I was a dumbass the first time I shot it. I tried to do it one-handed.
One of my... it's not as impressive anymore now because I've done it with almost everyone I've gone shooting with, but I'll take a 12-gauge shotgun, and I'll shoot it one-handed.
I've never shot a shotgun.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, it's a good time. Going and shooting clay pigeons. That's a lot of fun. I love shooting handguns and clay pigeons with a shotgun.
Gone to the desert, shot a couple of times. Went to the range once, which is when I bought the new gun. But since I bought a gun, I want to kill something.
Not like a person.
Bird shot. What is it? Quail hunting with the shotguns, and you just go blow them up?
Yep.
I would like to try that.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother's gone and hunted javelina. I've never gone hunting. That's where I like.
Me neither. I was supposed to go with a buddy. But him and his dad do bow hunting. And they gave me their
really?
They gave me one of their older bows.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are hard. You talk about 20 yards. You gotta shoot from 20 yards. I'm like, that's nothing. Thinking about a football field.
Mm-hmm.
You go out there, have that little target. You're like, fuck, that's far away. And some of these guys, and his dad was, knocking down 60-yard bullseyes and shit. I'm like, dude.
Yeah. My sister...
Because you got to get closer for bows.
Yeah.
Than fucking guns.
Yeah. Because you'll hear some people where it's like they take them down at 300 to 400 yards. And then for bow hunting, it's like, no, less than 100.
I want to snipe something from far away. An animal.
I might be able to put you in contact with someone. There's...
Legally.
Yeah.
Okay. You said that a little sketchy.
No, there's a friend. My brother knows a guy who's pretty proficient on in long range shooting. Apparently, as the story goes, he had a lot of military friends
kills?
who were. No.
He's got kills on his belt?
No, he had a lot of military friends who taught him basically, here's how to snipe.
Really?
So they taught him all the mechanics of here's how to
my
take
buddy
into
was
account windage and stuff like that.
Yeah, my buddy was in the military. He's the one that I went with to get a gun, and he has his long range, fucking cert and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Won competitions and shit. I'm like, jeez.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how my last couple of weeks went. Nothing special.
Yeah.
At all. Although on Friday, I get to go to, he doesn't listen to this, Pop Stroke. His wife said, you ever heard of that? I think it's called Pop Stroke. It's an adult putt-putt that Tiger Woods helped.
Oh, is that out in Westgate?
Yeah, over in Glendale.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go to it on Friday. He doesn't know about it. He knows we're going somewhere, just not there. He's a big golfer. He's like,
okay.
Be honest with you, he could probably take a stab at the tour if he actually tried. That's how good he is at golf. It's ridiculous. But I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I just saw a clip on Instagram. They were advertising for it, and I was like, that looks pretty badass.
Yeah, I think it's only like $20 and
Are you
as much as you
serious?
want. I think they make their money off of like the food,
The
the drinks.
Yeah.
They even have like a bar in the middle of it, plus bars to go to. They've got
Yeah.
cornhole, ping pong to play. Like Steve on the team, he went there for the Super Bowl.
Really?
It was like a grand opening kind of thing, and they had a big old screen. They watched the Super Bowl, got drinks, ate food. And
Dang.
it's supposed to be like, you know, a little more difficult but more natural. You know, where you
Not like
not
an
going through the
amusement park.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's more like is that how you say undulations?
Sure. Ups and downs.
Yeah, we'll call it that. So yeah, I'm excited. That should be fun.
That'll be cool. Yeah, let me know how that goes, because it looks like a badass spot.
Yeah, I will.
Have they opened, like, are they opening more of those throughout the country? Are we the first one? Are we not the first one?
No, I think they have a couple out, but like
Okay.
it's not like they have one in every state kind of
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
So we're special.
I mean, Arizona's the spot, dude.
Yeah.
You can build anything out here. We have the fucking land
We've got the people, too.
and the people
Yeah.
and the weather.
I hiked Camelback with the fiance yesterday. And,
Oh, I used to do that all the time when I lived in Tempe.
yeah,
Not all the time, but like once or twice a month.
it is my first time ever doing it.
Oh yeah. Are you a big hiker?
I was hiking more last year. Me and a buddy, we ended up like buying 20-pound weight vests and started just hiking with weight vests all the time.
You didn't do that on Camelback, did you? It's a little tougher mountain.
Not yesterday, no.
Yeah. A lot more steep in areas.
Yeah, I think I could do it though. It's a short hike.
Oh no, yeah, it's not saying you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that short. I mean, it's longer than fucking Thunderbird Mountain.
Well, aren't there 2 trails?
Is there on Camelback?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. Whatever the main one is.
because I think.
Or like the one side of the hill has the fucking, they put in a rail. Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know
That's
there was
when we
2. Yeah, I didn't know there was 2.
Because I don't know. I've lived here my whole life, so I should know. But from what I was told, there's a longer trail, which is not as
Oh, yeah.
intense of a climb, and then there's the shorter one with some of the railings that is like, hey, you might want to use your hands a couple times to help you
My
out.
buddy made it up halfway. We called it quits.
I saw people.
But we also started trying to do the hike thing about 3-4 months in from, you know, newly being in Tempe.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much being drunk for 3 months straight. He couldn't make it up. He was like, fuck this.
Dude, there were people yesterday that you're looking at going up this mountain going like, how are you going to eat up here? Like, we passed some people on the way up that we saw that they were still working their way up when we were on our way down. And we went up there, sat down for a while, looked out at the valley, just were kind of hanging out. And then we came back down and saw them still working. I'm like, oh, dear God. And then once we got to the very end, there's some lady with her kids. She's wearing slides, getting ready to start this thing. I'm like, okay.
You can get away with that on the way up, but you got to be careful on the way down. That's when you start slipping and sliding.
Well, and there's some of the areas where there's a little more dirt in it too. So it's like, hey, what happens when you lose traction, especially in slides?
Yeah. Do you ever run across those people where it's like they're going slow, but like kind of not too slow? And then you finally just like pick a spot and you speed up because they're going too slow.
Oh, yeah.
But
We
then,
did that all day.
Yeah, but then
yesterday.
all of a sudden, like they're on your ass.
Oh,
It's like driving a car. Like, dude, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, take your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Camelback Mountain.
No. For the most part, we were killing people on the way up yesterday.
Literally
Yeah, just
pushing them off.
blasting them. No, we had a pretty good pace going up, but on the way down, my fiance was like, I'm not feeling good. I was like, ooh.
Is she pregnant?
No.
Okay.
If she is, then there's a
Yeah.
conversation we gotta have.
Oh man.
What's the other guys? Whose baby is that?
The other guys?
Yeah, with Mark Wahlberg and
Oh yeah.
Will
but
Ferrell.
I don't remember
I'm
that part.
pregnant. Whose baby is that? Gators bitches better be wearing jimmies.
I think I barely saw that movie.
Oh
once.
my gosh. Because Will Ferrell was
Fucking hilarious.
pimp. back in the day, and so he was reverting
yeah.
back to his pimp ways.
All right, well, what's on the agenda for today, my friend?
Talked about doing some business planning, kill two birds with one stone, so that we've got something.
I don't think PETA likes it when people say that now. I think there's a different saying.
Oh, right. I forgot.
I'll find it out for you.
I forgot. Fuck PETA. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone. We're malicious intent. Talk about some business planning. We've got a house that we want to go over. There's a guy on the team, Caden, who found this house he was looking to do an open house for this weekend, and there's a possibility it might be listed a little low, which is interesting. And kind of just go
before we get away from the nonsense. Say this instead of this.
Mm-hmm.
Kill two birds with one stone. Not okay. Feed two birds with one scone. Or you can't say, be the guinea pig. You have to say, be the test tube. Or you say, you can't beat a dead horse. You can't say that. You gotta be like, hey, stop. You gotta. I don't know how you would use this phrase, anyways, but you have to feed a fed horse. Stop feeding a fed horse. Damn it, Thad.
There's a
bring home the bacon. No. Bring home the bagels.
There's a sign company that we did a job for off of the I-17. It's where the I-17 and the I-10 hit over there. Anyways, when we were tearing out part of their offices, they had this paper that was taped to one of the office doors. The entire thing was full of these replacements, and it said, I think it had, hey, we got a complaint or complaints in regards to people swearing a lot around the office. So we want to be mindful of the language we're using, so here are some replacements that you can use.
Oh,
so it's like, here'd be a common phrase with a swear word in it, and they changed it. So the only one that I remember, because it was hilarious, was instead of saying she's a fucking bitch, say she's an aggressive go-getter. It's like, fuck off. Like, if she's a fucking bitch, she's a fucking bitch. You can, if you want me to say she's freaking annoying, I'll say that, but don't, she's a go-getter, an aggressive go-getter. No one cares. Like, fuck her.
She is a mean female dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking people.
That's crazy. All right, before I interrupted, we were talking about we're going to go over the house.
Yeah, which we'll probably finish up with that. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sledgehammers in the Office podcast, where we celebrate the heavy hitters on the job site and in the office. Today, as usual, I'm joined by MasonOxendale. What are we drinking?
Just some water out of a Dutch Bros container.
Didn't you have a drink?
I left it in the car.
And you just decided not to get it?
Yeah, we were already running late. I said I'd be home by 7:30. It's already 7:15, so you know how that goes.
Yeah. As always, Shamrock, chocolate milk, whole milk. All right. Let's go over some of our numbers real quick before we jump into it. Active homes, this is going to be for Maricopa County. Think Greater Phoenix area. If you live in the Greater Phoenix area, this gives you an idea of what we're seeing. If you live outside of the Greater Phoenix area, we hope this gives you kind of a snapshot, just hopefully, of what the general market's doing, but don't take it as gospel. Active homes right now, 10,475. That is down 1,205 from last month. Closed, we've got 5,543 in the last month, and that is up 896. We didn't get an interest rate pulled for today, but...
Yeah, 6.56.
There we go. 2x4s, 315, down about 10%. Plywood, 1280, I think up 30 cents. Half-inch copper pipe, staying the same, 24.96. So, building prices staying the same, nice and stable. That's what we like to see. Mason, what do we think in regards to the inventory that we're seeing for the Phoenix area?
We're just slowly moving into. I don't know. It's weird because the numbers say it's a seller's market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we're below the normal inventory, but yet, from my experience and other people on the team, a lot of buyers are still getting concession. You know, typically in a seller's market, you know, you're going to get you're going to get maybe possibly more than what you asked for, or at least asking price,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not going to have to pay any concessions. You're probably not going to have to do any repairs. But a lot of these buyers are still getting concessions for it. So it's, you know, it's a weird time, but just like so is the entire world right now.
And I think the concessions thing is something that even I forget about, because getting married, looking at, all right, buying a house, you go punch in the numbers sometimes on Zillow to say, hey, what would my payment be roughly? And you see, okay, if it's a 6.5% interest rate, here's how much we're putting down. You see the payment and you're like, oh, geez. But like you said,
What do you use? What did you use?
the Zillow mortgage estimator
Yeah.
thing.
The only thing I don't like, some of those calculators you got to be careful about because they put in a general or average taxes, you know, insurance and stuff like that. And freaking taxes are so much less here in Arizona than other places.
Yeah, which, as always,
Which you never, with those calculators, you never know. So it's, yeah. But yeah, anyways.
it's a nice rule of thumb anyway.
Yeah.
But one of the things I realized the other day, I was like, I'm running some of these numbers going, man, like this really sucks. And then like, wait a minute, there's seller concessions are still a thing, and we can buy down an interest rate, so it's not going to, like, it doesn't have to be that payment that I'm seeing on the screen if we can find the right seller who's agreeable to some seller concessions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got a client under contract. We ended up only they accepted an offer 15 grand under asking price, but we got it 5 grand under asking price, and we got $13,000 in concessions to pay for closing costs and a buy down. You know, I mean, there's sometimes it's just the way you word the contract. You know, if you have a good realtor or a listing agent, they'll be able to explain and give you like, hey, here's the difference. Here's your walkaway number with this one. Here's your walkaway with this one.
Yeah.
But sometimes still sellers get so fixated on the purchase price.
Yeah.
So even though we at least got $450, but you're also giving $13,000, so your offer is technically, you know, like yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, like shit like that's still going on out there. It's a weird time.
Which in some ways I think is good because the seller is understanding of the buyer's position, especially with the higher interest rate. So it's almost like, hey,
exactly,
we're looking to sell the house, but we don't want to just be stuck here and saying, no. And the buyers are like, well, I can't pay the monthly payment at this interest rate. So it's like, how do we meet in the middle?
We still have the higher interest rates. But then at the same time, the value of homes out here in Phoenix area are slowly going up.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just this weird dynamic that usually don't correlate together.
Yep.
So you still have buyers, you still have sellers. Because some people are in positions where, you know, they can't wait to sell. Oh, we're going to wait for the market to get better. Mm-hmm. Well, not everybody's like that, you know.
Yeah.
So you got people who are holding off on selling because they're scared about the market. You got buyers holding off because they're scared of either scared of the interest rate or they just can't afford what they want right now because of the interest rates. And then you got buyers who are playing the game, they're getting in. Why'd you look behind me like that? You scared me. You got buyers coming in the game essentially like buying now to get the cheaper price for the house and then to refinance out of that eventually because they can afford paying the extra money. And then you got sellers who are just like, I need to sell it now. I just bought a house. You know, I got this here. Let's just get rid of it. We got equity in it.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just a weird, you know, it's in the gray area right now. You can't pinpoint exactly where it is.
Right. It's one of those things, too, where it's almost like everyone asks, like, when's the best time when's the best time for us to buy or sell? And it's like, the best time is going to be whenever we pass it and we get to look back and say, that was it.
Yeah. That would be the best time.
When hindsight is clearest. All right, I need to grab a charger. I forgot to plug the computer in.
Oh, no.
My chair keeps creaking. We're just going to have dead space, or you can talk about something.
No, they can still hear you. You're rambling about something. But yeah. So basically, if you're thinking about it in the market, like, talk to somebody. See if, see if it's going to work out. When I say somebody, I mean, like, talk to me or one of my lenders. That's what I mean. Like, speak to somebody in the industry that you trust that's not going to feed you a lender that you don't know that's going to feed you some bullshit about, like.
Oh, I actually have a story about that. So when I was sick, I had an old coworker hit me up in regards to him and his wife want to buy a house, which I need to actually get something done in that area. But anyways.
We need to work something out anyways, too.
Yes, we do. Yeah, which that might be in our next part. Anyways. He was reaching out. He's like, hey, me and my wife were trying to buy a house. We talked to a lender, and they said we couldn't because we had bought a car 7 months ago, and it just didn't make sense. So I start walking through it with him, and like the way that I set it up is, as a realtor, you're not supposed to operate outside of your expertise. And a lender is going to take care of the financials, qualification, things like that. But as you know, when you're in the industry for a while, you start to know the guidelines that the lenders ask for. So I always kind of treat it like, hey, I'm going to take my realtor hat off and I'm going to put my friend hat on. So let's.
Yeah, that's the difference. You can have multiple hats in that scenario.
Right.
You can't wear a a friend hat on somebody that you met online that wanted to buy a house because you're not friends.
I'm friends with everybody.
Yeah.
But just being very clear, as far as I always say, like, hey, I'm going to give you a picture of what I see in my mind, but we need to always verify this with a lender. They're going to be able to tell you, I don't pre-qualify you, I don't take your credit or anything like that. But we started walking through it, and then we eventually got to the part where, like, I'm able to explain to them why the lender probably actually denied them for a loan or be able to qualify. I forget. It was one I hadn't heard of. But, they were frustrated with the other lender because they're like, they didn't walk us through what was happening. Like, I was able to lay out for them, hey, here's why this income might not be able to apply towards your pre-qualification based on previous experience that I've had with clients. And they're like, they didn't talk to us about that. They didn't go over that with us. They didn't tell us about, hey, here's what we need to do. Here's what we could do to even get a higher qualification. And it's just like, guys, come on. Like,
yeah, because I mean, they all have operated off the same thing where they can put stuff into the equation and then it comes out saying you qualify for this much or not this much. But it's how you can finagle it to make it work.
In the end, as a lender or as a realtor, a lot of times our hands are tied in regards to the rules that we can play by. We're not going to pull some crazy new process out of thin air. But the big thing is being able to educate the people that you're working with and having a conversation to understand all the pieces that are available.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a people business. Like they talk about it. Everyone talks about it a lot. It's a people business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, at the end of the day, it's not just, hey, are we buddies? It's like, no. Like, do you know how to take care of those people?
Exactly. That's why, yeah. Doing, especially your first time buying a house, a lender that, somebody recommending it to you, a lender that, that they know and trust. But then again, I got a buddy who I helped him buy and sell a house, but he's just one of those guys, he's super smart where he'll go on the computer and figure out, in an hour how the lending process works.
Mm-hmm.
And then he calls all the companies and gets the best rate and is not worried about that personal connection stuff because he knows that, what he needs to do. And that's, and once you have a grasp on it, especially with a lender that you trust, they should be more than happy for you to go shop the rate.
Yeah. Which I'd say 99% of the time, you don't find people like that, right? So the big thing on our side is the majority of people we would run into are people who aren't educated on the process or don't know anything. Like for me, it's on the construction side where there's people who are sometimes scared to touch their house in some very small ways because they're like, oh, I don't want to break it. And it's like, you're not going to break your house. You're completely fine. Like if you did want to, you could go on YouTube, you could figure it out. But a big part of what we sell is the confidence that, hey, we're an expert in our field, and I can get you from A to B safely. We sell security.
Yeah. But when you put in that trap door for me, after you give me the quote and stuff, I'm going to be like, okay, this costs this much. Okay, I'll knock out the drywall. How else can I get this down? Because I know enough.
Yeah.
But I don't have enough time to do it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's what all you sell. Yeah.
Well,
Get it done properly and probably better than 99% of the people out there. That'll just slap a job together.
Yeah. Which, on my side, I always look at it when someone says, hey, like, what part can I do? I'm like, I've got a certain way that I do things. Like, installing an interior door is pretty straightforward and simple. But there's small nuances that I have to each step along the way that make it easy for me. So if I show up to a job and you haven't prepped the way that I want it to, and you're telling me all you have to do is put the door in the hole, it's like, I doubt it, but whatever.
Yeah.
We'll show up.
Speaking of that, when you do that, the door on the side of the garage that goes to the backyard keeps sticking. I think because it's settle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I tried screwing in the screws tighter, but that didn't work. I don't think there's a long screw in one of them either.
Okay, and that's going to be a lot of what you're doing, because let's see if I can do this verbally. So
I also got something installed above the door, which I don't think helped very much.
When you're looking at a door, you want to look at it from, let's see. So the door closes to the jamb, right? So it's going to stop against a piece of trim.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be standing on the opposite side of that so that you can see what's called the reveal. That's going to be the distance between the door slab and the jamb all the way around the door.
Yeah, it's the top side.
That's touching? So the top or on the side?
No. The top side of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that most likely would be, you could take a long 3-inch screw, pull one screw out of the hinge.
And then, I thought that's how they put all doors, or do they not do that?
Nope. So most
do you
doors,
do that?
A lot of doors, we will end up doing that.
See, I was under the assumption. Anyways, we can go down the rabbit hole. I just wanted to remind you that, and myself, that I need to look into that door.
Yeah, which sometimes we don't do. Like, if you set a door correctly, we won't do that just because of how we install the doors. It's completely secure. And if the doors are from the manufacturer correctly and we install it correctly, then there's no need to.
Yeah. Because
we'll screw it into the framing. Regardless, we use trim head screws that get hid behind weather stripping and stuff
all
like that.
Stuff.
Yeah.
What we were talking about? I lost track of what we were originally talking about before we went down the lending hole and stuff.
People in their jobs doing basically. Oh, it was the education.
Was it? How did we get there?
Because it was about teaching people. People could figure it out, but part of it is the education, because sometimes they're scared with the process that they go into.
What were we talking about before that? I don't know either.
I don't know. I had a story about my friend who was trying to get approved for the loan, and they got denied.
Yeah, but that was a little bit before that. We went off kind of the subject.
Because we're talking about people buying houses right now. It doesn't
matter.
matter.
Oh yeah, we didn't get past the numbers. You said we started.
I was asking you about the numbers.
Yeah, we started talking about the numbers, and then
I
went on the weirdness of the market. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Can you cut that out?
I can. Yeah. Am I going to?
No.
Absolutely not.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm not putting that much work into it. One of the things we put on here is kind of some business planning that we thought we might do a little bit in real time, but also
enough time to do it. Yeah, whatever. What do we got? 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about.
We can. Yeah.
Let's just talk about what's been going on in our businesses. We talked about this a little bit before the podcast, and then we can wrap up with the house that we got. So in regards to how's business?
I was going to ask you the same question. How's business? Where's it going? What direction do you want it to go? What are some, some key things some milestones you want to hit this year?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of what we did last year
And also, I don't know if people know the full background of like where you are in your construction, like with the business, who you work for, who works for you, kind of thing.
Okay.
If you're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
Or just in general.
So I work for a general contractor that I've had on the podcast before. So if someone wanted to go find out what the company is, you can find that there. That's basically where I work full-time right now. So Sledgehammers in the Office is an LLC that I own where we are doing construction projects. And currently we are not licensed. So that puts, legally, there's a cap on the stuff that we're supposed to do.
You can leave it at that.
I'm going to leave it at that. Last year, time to take your pills.
I thought I silenced it. Damn it.
It's time for vitamins. Yep. Last year, I was running real estate, and then had the opportunity to do some construction jobs, and real estate was slow for the minute, so it's like, sure, let's do that. Was busy for about 3 months. One of the projects did take a good amount of time, and I was trading my time and experience for tools, so didn't make any money off of that. And then, but got the experience, got the tools. In the end, it was a good trade. But rolled through several jobs that were some smaller projects, but they kept coming in for a while. So, and then things slowed down towards the end of the year, but so in December, that's when I started with the general contractor. Starting in January, started getting people reaching out, and we have not slowed down. We've been doing side jobs, it seems, almost every single week since the beginning of the year, and right now we're about booked out into April or the end of April. A lot of these projects depend on the size, or what people are asking for, and right now we're just running and gunning. So the people that are working with me are...
I got a couple questions though. Mm-hmm. But so how long have you had the SITO business for? Not only had it, but also like running jobs through it.
Running jobs...
A couple years?
Running jobs through it, that probably started 2021.
Yeah.
2021. So, I had the LLC
before
in
that.
2020.
Yeah, but that's kind of... So you're getting everything, running it organically.
Mm-hmm.
You're not hiring multiple general contractors, combining companies. You're kind of building from the ground up, like word of mouth. So all the business you're getting isn't from advertisement.
Yeah.
Or, coupons.
Yeah.
It's through your work.
Yeah, which we've been very intentional with, saying, hey, we're not licensed right now, so we need to make sure that we're limiting what we do in terms of projects, because there's legal limits on that.
Yeah, but you're going to get licensed,
right?
Yeah,
that is a part of what we've been working towards, to be able to get that done. So that's one of the big things for this year that we're trying to get done, to have a general contractor's license for Sledgehammers in the Office, that at that point we'd be running and gunning, being able to take on any project of any size that we want. On the residential side, commercial side, it'd be up to $2 million that the license would cover.
I think you're selling yourself a little short too, because it's not like you're not looking into getting your license. You pretty much know the book front and back, and you just need to go get it, take the test, and do it, essentially.
Yeah, it's I started the application process and got halfway
I was like,
through. I passed the ethics and all that stuff part, and now it's just like the trade specific, where it's like, all right, if you have how big of a beam do you need to span this long of a distance when you've got this snow load on it?
Because I was listening to you, I was like, wait, because I already know this, but I was thinking, I was like, wait. He kind of sounds like just somebody who's fixed some things at a house and started a company. It's like, no. That's not what he...
Yeah, which
he knows everything. You just got to get the paperwork together, open up the accounts, and do all the professional stuff.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of what we're doing as far as last year. It was kind of people, it was friends and family for the most part, or just a couple people who reached out for a couple repeat things that they wanted us to do. And yes, I'm intentionally being a little vague on the size of the projects because
they were legal.
Yes, they were.
Okay.
But yes, I work for a general contractor doing large projects. We're on a 7-figure project right now, to give you an idea of the kind of scope that I've been a part of, and things that I've seen and kind of the areas that we're stepping into. So the goal is with SITO that we're going to be able to build this up into a general contracting business that is going to be able to do things very similar. And so the licensing is going to be able to provide the avenue for us to be able to do all of that legally. But as far as the expertise, that's where it's kind of like, hey, we're working on getting the certification. We've just been so busy with people reaching out to us that it's like, I don't have time to study because I'm on a job site swinging a hammer when I'm not at work swinging a hammer.
Gotcha. All right, so I asked you a little bit of a loaded question. You could have went. So basically, you're working with another general contractor, getting contacts, learning even more about the trade, while you started up a business almost a little bit over, or a little less than 2 years ago, and building it organically and almost getting, real busy right now. So with the busyness of this, the smaller job that you're legally allowed to take on, and then the general contractor, what's next for SITO? Of course, I mean, obviously like you said, is getting the license. So, you're working the side jobs, the legal ones that you can. Once you get the license, what's next?
So,
what are your plans, your milestones that you want to hit?
Yep. Big picture plans are going to be get the license and then start building the company. So that's going to be as we're doing jobs, we're trying to the goal will be to put a lot of that money just back into the company. Since I have a full-time job, I don't need to be taking money from what we're kind of considering from SITO to be able to pay for my bills. So we want to be able to put a lot of that money back into the business to be able to buy more equipment, more tools, so that as we get the license and can take on larger projects, all of that's there. Then it would be as we build up the customer base and hopefully that word of mouth continues. Once we get the license, then we'd start actually kind of pounding the pavement with a little bit more advertising. Some of that is what we're going to be what we're doing kind of through the podcast. We want to be building videos on top of that to be able to say, hey, here's what we offer. You can get a visual look into what we do, what we look like, how we present ourselves to you. And then really running at it that way to where we want to be able to get to a point where I'm busy enough to say, hey, I need to now, instead of working 5 days a week, be able to approach the general contractor and say, hey, can I still be employed with you for right now, but let's do 4 days a week. And then once that kind of hits the point where hey, I still have people banging down my door because they want work done, SITO is going to take over as being the full-time thing. Once that takes over, then it's going to be a point of trying to bring on Joe in a full-time capacity if we can as well.
A non-1099?
Yeah, because right now a lot of it is just as there's no regular employment, so it is a 1099 basis. And the idea would be once we're busy enough to where we need to be running and gunning full steam ahead, then we can have 2 people and then hopefully a large company building. So large grand scheme of things, we want to build this up to where we're crossing state lines. I want to have a general contractor's license, not just in Arizona, but multiple states. I want Sledgehammers in the Office to be the name in construction that is the new wave of, I want to be the new generation in construction. You've got a lot of people who are doing it in the luxury industry where they're very presentable, they're very clean cut, everything looks good. But I want to be able to, in some ways, take that where it's hey, we've got these heavy hitters in work, but at the same time, we need to be able to have a presentable side to the customer as well. So we want to be able to have that for large remodels. We want to be able to have crews in Arizona and then other states. So that's like years down the road. That's the big vision. But very practically right now, bringing that back to it's going to be getting the license, making sure everything is set up process-wise so that we become very repeatable in what we're doing, as well as it's not just me, but I can plug someone in very easily to say, hey, if I need someone more on the sales side, this is what it looks like. Joe's been doing, like, he's been taking care of a lot of, like, he'll do photos and stuff for the job because sometimes I just get lost in the swinging a hammer side of it. So he's got a good eye for stepping back and be able to do that. So part of it is going to be also probably saying, hey, you seem to be good in this area. How do we kind of set you up to handle, in some ways, the media side, which is going to translate to an advertising side as well.
Yeah. Very passionate about that. I love it.
Yeah, which that's you want to step out?
No, we keep going.
All right.
I figured we could talk a little bit more about, have you answer a little more questions about the SITO side.
Okay.
And then next episode, we can switch positions.
Let's do it.
So I guess how do I want to formulate this question? Like, so you talk about, expanding and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for me, especially with anything that has, like, you need some type of skill at, bigger name companies scare me off because, like, what type of quality are you going to get? Like, how was this guy hired and stuff?
Right.
So, like, because you want to do you want to look the part both professionally, but also look the part like you know how to swing a hammer, not somebody that just looks good in a tuxedo.
Yeah.
So, like, how are you going to make sure that the quality, the name of the business, because you see a lot of advertisements and be like, oh, family owned, blah, 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 blah. This, we do it this way because we are SITO. This is how it's done. But, like, realistically, like, it's not everybody else's company. So, yeah, a lot of you would like people to buy in, but how do you get people to, like, how are you going to get people to not just do the bare minimum and do, like, be the perfectionist like you are personally when you do jobs?
And the way that I look at that is to say, when we hire people, I'm not hiring people necessarily just to swing a hammer. I'm hiring people to swing a hammer in a certain way, right? So in regards to, let's start with looking the part because that's the easy one. Construction, the way I've seen it, is far behind in a lot of the professionalism as well as some of the maybe tools that are available to it. Like, we're having with the general contractor I'm working for right now, one of the things is, like, we're revamping our logo and business cards and stuff like that. So they're talking about, like, oh, I saw this dot card thing on Instagram, and it's like, guys, like, let me tell you about, like, the QR codes that are live QR codes that we could feed actual things, like, and there's a whole stream that we could go down on that. But they're, like, kind of like, oh, wow. But, like, when you're on the real estate side, since real estate's so competitive, everyone is trying to be right there. So that's some of the stuff that gets taken over. So the easy thing for construction is to say, hey, how do you look at the part? There's a lot of guys who are going to show up with random t-shirts, like, they're going to have jeans with holes in them. So in some ways, the dress code's easy. So far, I've provided all the guys polos, shirts, hats, things of that nature to say, hey, we have a uniform when we show up, as well as saying, I don't want people showing up with torn jeans. Yeah. So the visual very easily is set that way to say, we can look the part before we can be the part. I can pull someone off the street, dress them up very quickly, and be like, there we go. Here's a hammer. Now you look like you're a contractor. So the barrier for entry on looking professional is lower. Yes, there's a part of, like, hey, with people coming in, I'm not just going to allow some person who's mouthing off in front of a customer where it's like, hey, like, I'm not just going to teach you how to swing a hammer, but I'm going to teach you how to interact with our customers because that's what we're also selling. Part of it is teaching people that we bring in, your job is not necessarily your job. Your job is going to be, how do we take care of the customer in the best way possible? They're going to have a job that they want us to do, so we need to do it. We need to do it with excellence. But also, a part of that excellence is going to be, how do we treat the customer along the way? So one of the things that I feel like I was blessed with when I came into the construction industry was I knew nothing. I was a blank slate, and the general contractor I started working for was very particular with details. There were certain things that he was big on instilling in regards to, hey, we want to maintain a clean job site throughout. So like we're going to make a mess, but we need to make sure it's clean. Like at the end of the day, you want to make sure your space is clean, that if you're working with people, be conscious of, if you're making dust, is that traveling through vents to the other parts of the house? So it's, in some ways, certain habits that I have automatically were just instilled to me. So part of the hiring process would then be like, hey, can we find blank slates? Or can we find like Bobby and Joe? Joe came from the automotive area, but he's now, where he's working in construction, he's very detail oriented. He's also just a very, he's a man of integrity. So you take a man of integrity and say, let me show you how to do a skill, be patient with their speed, and then go from there. Because you'll see a lot of companies that they hire people and they fire them quickly because they're not at the same level that we're expecting. We need to be able to plug someone in at an experienced level because that's what this company needs. And sometimes that is absolutely what the company needs. But more importantly, most times, you need a good person and you need to teach them what to do.
Yep.
There's very specific industries like the window and door industry. No one knows what the fuck to do in that industry. You need to grab good people, teach them your system on what to do, how to do it. Because if you're looking for people who do that, it's like you've got, 10 people? And how many companies that are going to be vying for them? It's like, no. Bring someone in, teach them what to do, be patient, but say, hey, I expect you to first, I need you to learn the process, I need you to do it well, and then once you can do it well, I need you to get faster at it.
Yeah.
And you need to do it in that order. If you fuck up that order, you're screwed. So for me, in looking for SITO, it's to say the same thing, that I'm going to be looking for good people in regards to, hey, here's how we do things. We act with integrity, honesty. Like I put together like this core values book thing. Like we have an employee handbook that we have, essentially.
So you'll like this phrase. So essentially, SITO's playing chess while everybody's playing checkers. With essentially that a lot of people, will be like, hey, you know how to do concrete? Oh, hey, you know how to do floor? Come on over. And they do it how they were done, but they're just doing it to get the job done. Like checkers, you make moves to hop over other people. Or chess, you have to think, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps ahead. Like you do it this way in this order, because if you do it out of order, like you talked about, this could go into the vents and spit out this way, and we have a whole nother problem. Like you have it in this order to prevent other things from happening.
Yep.
Playing chess. You love chess.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, which...
SITO. Chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
Dude, that's some marketing material right there.
Which, and like I said, I think that there's a part
where... You like checkers? Well, fuck you. We play chess.
There's a part where the construction industry is behind. And this is where...
Now, do you... Sorry, I know I'm jumping in. I'm a horrible host. But because I'm really curious about it. Do you think... Because you started with a clean slate from the construction, and then you started to dabble in real estate a little bit. Do you think that, like, how much has, like, being on the real estate side opened up your eyes to the construction world and, like, how far behind they are? Or if it's played any role at all?
I think it opened my eyes quite a bit. So, like, I talked about the contact card. So there are contact management systems and job management systems that you can find out there. There are several that are available, and I think those are becoming more and more popular, which is great. But there's some guys who still run their business off of like a notepad and pen. There's guys where they deliver checks to their guys on Fridays, stuff like that. And so you're just looking at it going like this doesn't make sense. If I want to be able to communicate with you and you're not on site, or the way that this needs to happen, like For real estate, there's contact management systems. There's entire platforms that are set up between the lender and the client for them to be able to work through, like the portals. The title companies are doing them. Sometimes I find them annoying because it seems to detach the people from it. But at the same time, what people have realized with real estate is that if you can systemize everything, there's a lot more money to be made because you can take less time per person, same quality, and you can go then work with more people. So on the construction side, the really good part of the construction side is that there's people who are extremely experienced in what they're doing. We've got some concrete guys, and I'm hoping that in the next couple of weeks we're going to be able to bring this gentleman in. But he's got a crew where some of these guys have been working together for like 15 years. So they're amazing at what they do. And I haven't seen their back end. Their back end might be amazing. So like I want to be able to talk to this guy to be able to say like, hey, how do you run your business? What do you do? Because obviously you've done something right. But one of the things that I can see clearly is that they know how to do concrete. And they know how to do concrete well. They know the codes. They know everything about it. Like, do I need to give them a blueprint? No, they can just do it if necessary. I think the back end side of it is the part that people struggle with because so much of construction, especially at this smaller level, it's a bunch of small businesses. Yeah. So it's then saying, hey, how do we run a business, not just do the trade at the same time? So it's those two things that are happening together. So with SITO, it's to be able to say, hey, like I need to be able to do two things. I need to be able to run a business well, and I need to be able to have excellent work inside of the trades and an excellent skill inside of that as well. Okay. Because like we've talked about and kind of bitched about before on the podcast, you can grab some kid out of college where it's like, I've got a degree in construction management. Yeah. You don't know your fucking asshole from a hole that's drilled for rebar. So don't come tell me that you know shit about fuck. But then you go drag one of those guys where it's like, hey, what size rebar needs to go in that footer? And it's like, I need you to go manage the job and maybe some of the financials behind it or talk about some of the sales process. And they're like, let's not do that. Yeah. So it's trying to be able to set up both of those to say, hey, let's be the new wave of construction. We've got a lot of people looking for the way out where if it's like, hey, let me teach you how to do ClickFunnels or affiliate marketing or all these things. And it's like, at the end of the day, there's still going to need to be a group of people who are heavy hitters on a house, swinging hammers, doing plumbing, taking care of the electrical, HVAC, whatever. Let's make sure that those people are taken care of inside the trade. They're respected, and they are respectable people to our customers. So it's a bunch of those things going together. And a lot of that is going to come down to the two things like we said. We want to be excellent inside the trade and excellent inside the business. So we're going to need to work on leadership programs. We're going to need to work on things of that nature where it's like, it's not just, you know how to do concrete, I'm going to get 4 of you guys, go lay concrete. It's a lot bigger than that.
That's nice. It's a real nice vision.
It's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, if you get too good at it, people are probably going to pay you to teach them how to run a construction business.
We'll finish with this. This is a messed up idea I have in my mind every once in a while.
Yeah. Or you could just be like one of those guys where, you know, you do a couple jobs and then you create a course on how to run a business.
Yeah, which we'll talk about that another time. I've had this messed up idea before of basically like trying to create a monopoly. Like if I could start picking up steam inside the trades and start gaining a lot of capital. People talk about how a lot of the people in the trades, like the average age is like 55 or something like that. I would love to start retiring a lot of people by saying, hey, I'm going to buy out your business, because if some of these people don't have a large business, you can come in and say, hey, your business is worth X because we can look at your numbers. I'll pay you this amount of dollars, but here's the deal. I need you to teach my guys for 4 years. Yeah. And then after that, you have an NDA that you're not allowed to teach anyone else. You're not allowed to compete against me going forward, any of that stuff.
How's that a messed up idea?
Because I'm trying to create a monopoly. I'm trying to take away the competition. I don't want anyone else to know what we know. So that in the end, it's like SITO's deal.
Oh, like the NDA kind of thing?
yeah, basically, I want to create, like, SITO's the only people who know how to do this shit.
Yeah, but I don't see any problem with that at all. Especially if you're not taking advantage of somebody, because if you were to do that, you would probably pay them a little bit more than what the business is worth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're taking care of the old guy who paved the way. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. I'm very... there's a lot of stuff that I look at inside of SITO too that I feel like I have a brain that looks at things the way that they're structured and says, like, hey, how can these things be done better? And I want to be able to create a good workplace where the employees are taken care of, to create opportunity for people in the trades, and also be able to give back. There's a lot of stuff where I look at money as a tool that can be used to bless people. So I hope that what we can create with SITO is something that, one, can create income for a lot of families, but also be able to be used to bless people in our community. So I feel like that's something that God has put in front of me. I hope that he blesses my steps along the way and all of that and with where we're going. But
yeah,
I feel like there's a path, and we're going to try and take the correct steps that he lays out for us.
Hell yeah. I mean, I consider myself a good man. I donate most of my money to every week to charity, but when she's not working, I give it to Rose. All right, now that's how you end podcasts. But all right, gentlemen, let's wrap it up for the evening. Let us know where people can find you and anything else you want to plug.
You reading that right off the sheet?
Yep.
All right, guys, you can see what we're doing for construction at SITO_building. Like I said, Joe's been taking more photos. We're trying to do more videos and get caught up with that. We are getting a little bogged down with hammer swinging right now, but we will try to be doing that. Also, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you're already there, but we're going to try and populate more videos. Follow us at SITO_building on Instagram. If you guys have a project or have any questions, feel free to DM me there or shoot me a text at 602-471-8182.
Nice. And, I'm MasonOxendale, lead real estate agent on the team. And but you can find me on Instagram at MasonOxendale. I plan on being a little more active on social media. Also, going to start redo the YouTube page, The Real Spit on Real Estate. My original partner decided to get out of real estate because he got it, and do some psychology work. So,
he's helping people. He's not the one who needs.
Yes,
the
correct.
work.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I'll let you know once I get some more videos and stuff up. But anything real estate, I gotcha. So until next time, I hope your hammer stays accurate, your Wi-Fi fast, and your work blessed. See you, everybody.
Blah, blah.